Hi all, this is DJ80 here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Equinox Gyrocopter moving headlight. And this is them here. They've just been delivered from Why Buy New. So let's open up the box and see what we get. Here we have them then, all opened. As you can see from the packaging there, they're nicely packaged. They come with a bag covering them, then they're in two side pieces of polystyrene, and then they're in the box, so they'll travel well. These units are brand new, although I did buy them from Why Buy New. I bought brand new stock. And a little tip for you, if it's still available, I got them from their Why Buy New eBay shop, where if you bought two, you got the second one with 10% off. So it's a little saving, but it all adds up. So this is what we get in the box. So we get the unit, we get a manual, and we get a little screw that goes in the unit so you can put a chain through it to keep it safe. We also get this mounting bracket, and I haven't come across these particular units before, so I'll have to have a quick look in the instructions and see how that works. And you get a power cable. So I've got exactly the same for both units. I've put my hat there to give you an idea of size. From bottom to top is about 34 centimeters, and so they're not the biggest moving head units you're going to come across, but I knew that before buying them. What I'm hoping here is for a small unit with a big impact. And you can just see here that on the back of each unit you have a power in option, and you also have a power out. So I will use a lead and take the power from that one to power the second one. And you also have the DMX options there as well. And then on the other side of the unit you have your LED menu. So that's something I'll be looking at. For the time being, I'm going to be using them as master and slave. So I'm just going to set them up on my overhead bar there for my micron booth. I'm going to put them on each end, and I'm doing it during the daylight, and we'll see what the initial first impression is of them working. So these clamps are quick release clamps, and you get a set of these with each light fixture, and they just slot into those holes there, and you twist them. That's it. So you've got two little pins here, and they slot in, and then you push down and twist it. So I set one up on my bar. A bit dark there. Let's move back a bit. Okay, so this is on the Equinox micron booth bar, and I put it in, and as you can see, that bit there just taps the top of the bar. I think it's easily solved if I just add an extra washer here or along there. But one thing I did notice is I'm going to have it powered around the back, like all my other lights. And then so I can pre-wire it and hide all the cables. But if I do that, then I've got the LED front facing the clients. So I'm not sure how I'm going to have that yet. It's not a big issue, but for some people, I have seen some other DJs mention that they don't like that. All I've done is I've plugged them in, switched them on, and they work straight away to sound to light. So let's see them in action. So here they are. They're a DMX master to slave. So I didn't use the overhead bar. I actually drilled 2 holes in the booth and I mounted them there. I don't know if you can see that. These release clamps do work, but they worry me a little bit. I think they could be a bit more sturdier. I tend to find it only takes like a quarter of a turn and that will pop up, and as soon as one comes up, the other one comes up as well. So I was a bit worried about putting them on an overhead bar. But other than that, they sit quite well, and as you can see, DMX lead from one to the other. And I'm in a small room at the moment, but I'll show you the view from behind the booth. Right, here we are then, time for the conclusion of the Equinox Gyrocopter moving headlight. So I'll start with the negatives, as I do. The biggest negative with this is its brightness. Each of these have an 8-watt Cree LED in, and I don't think it's bright enough for my needs anyway. Although you've got 4, at any given point when it's mounted like this, you've always got 2 not pointing towards the crowd. I think perhaps 20-watt LEDs are required, or if you use smoke and haze, that will help you get the best out of this effect. Another thing is, you'll also find that on most of the other promotional videos, this light fixture, the base here is at 90 degrees, so it's either on trussing or a lighting pole, and I believe that's probably the best way to get the most out of this lighting effect. If you're hoping to mount it like this, then again, for me, I just couldn't get the maximum out of it. A minor point on my ones, I don't know if you can see there, but there's actually fingerprints on the inside of the lenses. It might just be the 2 units I've got. But for me, keeping the lenses nice and clean and getting the maximum light that you can from it is quite important. And I just think the costs as well. When I compare this to other moving heads that you can get, and that's excluding the cheap ones that you can get from China, it looks impressive. But if it's not bright enough, then I think it's slightly overpriced. These were £180 each. And I think for this particular model, for me, I would expect somewhere between 120 and 150. On to the positives. So there's a few positives that we can draw from this light. So it might be suitable for you if you use smoke and haze. It is a good build quality. So there's no loose parts, there's no rattles. It's all put together. It's all got the same screws in it. There's no sort of loose plastic or anything, so the build quality is good, and from that you can gather that it will probably last a long time. Also, it's quite lightweight. It's less than 4 kilos. It's easy to transport. It's not heavy, and even if you had 4 of these in a case, you should be quite capable of lifting that and moving that around, so that's a positive as well. They do look professional. You get the mounts included, which is a nice touch, Equinox, well done. if you're like me, I absolutely begrudge paying between £10 and £30 for one sort of clamp or bracket, which is nothing than a glorified nut and bolt. The fact that you get those quick release clamps included is good. It did take a little leap of faith for me to use it, and I used the clamps all night from a 7 till midnight gig, and despite having people right up close to my booth because it was a small venue, the light stayed 30. They didn't wobble or rattle about, so the clamps are a good point. And also, just lastly, if you're just taking your first step into DMXing, the manual is really easy to use and straightforward. So it has instructions in there step by step on how to set them up for master and slave, for instance, and you just follow the steps in the manual and it works. The lights do what you're asking it to do. So again, another plus point for Equinox there, because sometimes the manuals and stuff that you get are just gobbledygook, and you can't follow them, or the lights don't do what you're expecting them to do. But not so with this one. It all works as it should. So that's my conclusion. I think it's going to be down to personal choice if you choose this light. It's not a bad light, and I think in the right circumstances it's going to be good for a lot of DJs. So I hope that's helped, and if it has, please click on one of my music videos, because every click helps. I've been DJ80. Thanks for watching.